While modern billionaires compete to build mega mansions, they're still playing catch-up to an 18th century monarch's fever dream. Indeed, King Charles VII of Naples, in modern-day Italy, created a world where more than 1,000 rooms showcased art that exhausted the talents of Europe's greatest masters, where gardens stretched so far they required their own climate zones, and where a single throne room contained more precious marble than most modern museums. An army of Europe's finest craftsmen spent decades creating interiors that would leave visitors speechless, while a 40-kilometer aqueduct fed fountains designed to make other palaces' water features look like garden sprinklers. Yet this 47,000 square meter giant, a monument to unlimited power and wealth, would face a future its builders never imagined, as it was left derelict to rot away before it finally was saved and restored in the 21st century. Thus, in today's episode of Old Money Mansions, we explain how Europe's grandest palace became an abandoned nightmare before it awoke from its slumber to be a restored dream. In 1751, amid the rolling hills of southern Italy, King Charles VII of Naples harbored an audacious dream. Driven by a desire to outshine the papal palace in Rome, he envisioned a royal residence that would establish Naples as a major European power center. The result would be the Palace of Caserta, a monument to ambition that would become one of Europe's largest and most opulent royal complexes. To realize this vision, Charles VII turned to Luigi Vanvitelli, an architect already renowned for his work on St. Peter's Basilica. Vanvitelli's design was breathtaking in its scope, a palace that would serve not only as a royal residence, but also house the entire government of the Kingdom of Naples. The numbers alone spoke to its grandeur: 47,000 square meters of floor space, 1,200 rooms, 1,742 windows, and 34 majestic staircases connecting the various levels of this architectural marvel. Construction began in 1752, launching 2 decades of relentless activity. Thousands of workers labored day and night to bring Vanvitelli's intricate designs to life. The main facade alone stretched an imposing 247 meters, its presence a clear statement of royal power and prestige. Inside, artisans worked tirelessly to create interiors that would leave visitors awestruck. The finest marble was sourced from select quarries, while master painters adorned ceilings with elaborate frescoes. The throne room, designed as the heart of royal ceremonies, received particular attention, its opulence reflecting the monarchy's might. Vanvitelli's vision extended beyond mere architecture. The complex included vast gardens featuring a series of fountains and cascades that transformed the landscape into a water paradise. The centerpiece was the Great Cascade, fed by the Carolino Aqueduct, an engineering feat that brought water from over 40 kilometers away. Each element was carefully planned to create an integrated masterpiece where nature and architecture worked in harmony. In a shrewd combination of luxury and industry, Charles VII included plans for a silk factory within the palace grounds. This addition wasn't merely ornamental, but a strategic decision to boost the local economy and establish Caserta as a center of fine textile production. The palace was designed to be not just a symbol of power, but a driver of prosperity for the entire region. Tragically, Luigi Vanvitelli would not live to see his masterpiece completed. After his death in 1773, his son Carlo took over the project, faithfully adhering to his father's grand design. As the 1770s drew to a close, the palace, though still under construction, had already become a symbol of the heights of human ambition and artistic achievement. As power shifted across Europe in the coming century, this magnificent structure would witness transformations its creators could never have imagined. The dawn of the 19th century brought dramatic transformations to the Palace of Caserta, reflecting the shifting tides of European power. Under the Murat domination in the early 1800s, the palace's interiors underwent significant modifications that spoke to the changing political landscape. The Alexander Room, originally conceived as a grand reception hall, was reimagined as a temporary throne room, symbolizing the new regime's authority through its architectural grandeur. The artistic direction of these changes celebrated military might and imperial glory. Painters Heinrich Schmidt and Rudolf Surlant created dramatic frescoes depicting the capture of Capri and the Battle of Eylau on the main walls. Adding to this martial splendor, sculptors Domenico Masucci, Claudio Monti, and the French artist Durand crafted 6 intricate stucco bas-reliefs portraying episodes from Joachim Murat's life, effectively turning the palace's walls into a chronicle of Napoleonic triumph. This period saw the completion of 2 of the palace's most magnificent spaces, the halls of Astrea and Mars. These masterful projects, overseen by architect Antonio de Simone, showcased a unique blend of neoclassical elements with the empire style that had become fashionable during the Napoleonic era. The fusion of these artistic traditions created spaces that captured both the timeless dignity of classical architecture and the bold confidence of imperial power. The palace reached new heights of grandeur in 1845 with the completion of its majestic throne room. This impressive chamber, stretching 40 meters in length and lined with 28 fluted twin Corinthian columns, created an atmosphere of overwhelming majesty. In 1844, Gennaro Maldarelli unveiled its crowning achievement, a magnificent ceiling fresco titled "The Laying of the First Stone of the Royal Palace of Caserta," connecting the space to the very moment of its inception. During this era, Queen Maria Carolina's vision for the palace grounds took shape through the creation of the English garden. This 24-hectare masterpiece, designed by English gardener John Andrew Grafer in collaboration with architect Carlo Vanvitelli, transformed a portion of the grounds into a horticultural wonder. Rare botanical specimens from around the world found homes among carefully designed landscapes, artificial hills, meadows, and an intricate network of ponds and canals. The addition of orangeries and greenhouses completed this botanical paradise, establishing Caserta as a center of horticultural excellence. As Italy moved toward unification in 1861, the Palace of Caserta stood as more than just a royal residence. It had become a perfect synthesis of the arts. Architecture, painting, sculpture, decorative arts, and music through its court theatre came together in harmonious unity. Yet even as the palace reached its artistic zenith, political winds were shifting. The approaching unification of Italy would bring changes that would test the very purpose of this magnificent complex. The unification of Italy in 1861 marked the beginning of a long decline for the Palace of Caserta. The magnificent structure that had served as a symbol of Bourbon power suddenly found itself adrift in a new political landscape. As the newly unified nation established its capital in Rome, the vast complex lost its status as a center of political and social life, beginning a period of decline that would last for decades. The departure of the royal court had immediate effects. The meticulously maintained gardens slowly surrendered to nature's advance, with exotic species in the English gardens struggling to survive without expert care. The elaborate system of fountains and waterworks, which had been the pride of the palace, fell silent as the Carolina aqueduct's complex maintenance was neglected. Paths once kept immaculate for royal processions became overgrown, while carefully planned vistas gradually disappeared behind untamed vegetation. Inside, the palace's grandest rooms stood silent and increasingly neglected. Intricate frescoes that had taken years to complete began to fade under layers of dust and neglect. The elaborate stucco work, once gleaming with gilt, slowly crumbled in the humid Italian air. Marble floors that had reflected the light from countless chandeliers dulled beneath years of wear, while the fine silk wall coverings began to deteriorate in the absence of proper climate control. World War II brought an unexpected and tumultuous chapter to the palace's history. From 1943 to 1945, the halls that had once hosted royal ceremonies became the headquarters of the Allied Forces Command in the Mediterranean area. Military maps replaced precious artworks, and military boots echoed through corridors once graced by courtiers. This period reached its historical climax on the 29th of April, 1945, when the unconditional surrender of German forces in Italy was signed within its walls. The war years took a heavy toll. US bombing raids in 1943 damaged sections of the complex, while the chaos of war led to widespread looting of its artistic treasures. Precious furniture disappeared, ornamental fixtures were stripped away, and even architectural elements were not spared. The once pristine palace emerged from the conflict, bearing deep physical and cultural scars. In the post-war years, the situation grew increasingly dire. The Italian government, focused on rebuilding basic infrastructure and housing, could hardly justify the massive expense of maintaining such an enormous complex. Rooms were sealed off, windows boarded up, and entire wings abandoned to the elements. The palace that had taken decades to build and had housed centuries of history stood as a fading monument to a vanished way of life, waiting for a time when its worth would once again be recognized. The late 20th century marked the beginning of a remarkable turnaround for the Palace of Caserta. In 1997, UNESCO's designation of the complex as a World Heritage Site brought international attention to both its plight and its potential. This recognition proved to be the catalyst for a new chapter in the palace's long history, one that would transform it from a neglected relic into a vibrant cultural center. The turn of the millennium saw the launch of increasingly ambitious restoration efforts. In 2001, a comprehensive project began to address decades of neglect, tackling everything from the palace's massive facades to its intricate interior details. The scale of the task was daunting. With 74,000 square meters of facades alone, the restoration required meticulous planning and substantial resources. When the European Union's post-pandemic recovery fund allocated €27 million to the effort, the project gained the momentum it needed to match its ambitious scope. The restoration team's work has systematically brought the palace's grandeur back to life. The Sala di Marte, Sala di Astrea, and Sala di Trono have regained their majestic character, while the grand staircase once again provides visitors with the awe-inspiring entrance its architects intended. In the gardens, dead trees have been replaced, seasonal flower beds reinstated, and work has begun on restoring the historic Carolino aqueduct to return water to the palace's spectacular fountains and cascades. Hollywood's discovery of the palace has added another dimension to its revival. The restored complex has served as a backdrop for numerous high-profile productions, with its majestic interiors standing in for the Theed City Naboo Palace in Star Wars Episode II, The Phantom Menace, and Episode II, Attack of the Clones. Productions like Mission Impossible 3 and Angels and Demons have similarly showcased the palace's restored splendor to global audiences. Today, Caserta pulses with cultural energy. Tourist numbers have soared, with a single month in 2021 bringing nearly 80,000 visitors through its gates. The palace hosts contemporary art exhibitions in its royal apartments, while the annual Un'estate de Re Summer Music Festival fills its historic courtyards with performances by world-renowned artists like Roberto Bolle, Zucchero, and Placido Domingo. The complex has earned a prestigious third star in the Michelin Green Guide to southern Italy, placing it on equal footing with Pompeii. As restoration work continues, the Palace of Caserta stands as an icon of the enduring value of architectural heritage. The complex that Charles VII commissioned to rival Europe's greatest palaces has found new purpose as a celebration of art, culture, and human achievement. In saving this magnificent structure, Italy has preserved not just a building, but a bridge between past and present, where the grandest dreams of the 18th century continue to inspire visitors from around the world. And now, we'd like to see you in the comments. Have you visited Italy before? Or this palace specifically? We love hearing your personal stories, so don't be shy and let us know in the comments below. With that said, Thanks for your continued viewership here at Old Money Mansions, and cheers. Until next time.